learning sessions will definitely help people to get a lot of information, and they can also start doing their research. And as a part of the ethical research work, I sincerely believe each and every one of us have to learn some part of statistical analysis to analyze and interpret the data. Everything is there with the click of the mouse for us. It is only our interest in learning new things and applying statistical tools on our own. This 5-day workshop, I sincerely believe will definitely help you people to understand or learn few statistical tools, and you will also understand how simple and easy to apply those tools in commerce and management research. With this, I would like to move on to my slideshow presentation. If there are any queries or any feedback from the audience side, the coordinators kindly keep me posted. I'm moving on to the presentation. This is how myself and Nagalakshmi ma'am are planning to proceed with our 5-day workshop with you. On the day one today, we are planning to give you a glimpse on the process of research. We want you people to understand what is research, and many of us are stucking up with areas like preparing a data collection instrument, especially scaling and measurement. So today I would like to give more importance to how to prepare a questionnaire. While preparing a questionnaire, what type of questions need to be asked so that the relevant statistical tool can be applied. Okay, so I'm going to discuss more on scaling and measurement today. And with this, tomorrow, after we are assuming by the end of the day, you will know how to prepare a questionnaire. With thanks to Google for the Google form. With Google form, you can collect the data, and that data will also be there in Excel sheet. With the Excel data, how to export the data in SPSS. SPSS is statistical package for social science, such a simple and easy tool, which will definitely help you people to apply any kind of statistical tool that are relevant for our research. And with that, you will be introduced with how to prepare tables, the process of tabulation. Okay, so tomorrow's session will be completely on data processing, coding, and exporting data in SPSS and preparing tables. So table, you all may be thinking, what is a big deal in preparing tables? Only with the help of tables, you will decide what type of analysis you will be able to execute, right? So table play a vital role if it is chi-square. Assume you want to measure association between vaccination and suffering from any particular disease. Let us take corona. Okay, corona and vaccination. People who have suffered corona, not suffered corona, vaccinated, not vaccinated. So with those details, so while preparing the table itself, if you can prepare it in such a way that the data can be collected in the format to apply that particular test, that will help you. So tomorrow's session will help you people to understand the importance of preparing table and how to prepare table based on the objectives of the study and based on the statistical requirements. You will be taught how to prepare tables and exporting data in SPSS. That you will be learning tomorrow. And then day 3 and day 4, I'm planning to discuss day 3 after exporting data, descriptive analysis and inferential analysis. I'm planning to discuss some part of how to use descriptive analysis tools like all your measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion, the use and relevance of that. And with that, how to apply some of the inferential analysis techniques like t-test or chi-square, ANOVA, those stuff I'm planning to discuss on the day 3, whatever is possible, that I will cover on the day 3. Day 4 is once again going to be factor analysis, and I'm planning to give you an introduction to AMAS because everyone is discussing about
Excuse me, ma'am. You're not actually audible. Can you please check your volume, ma'am?
Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. From the beginning, I am not audible, or in
No,
between?
ma'am, you were talking about almost introduction.
Okay. So I'm just discussing about the agenda for the 5-day program. Day one will start with understanding what is research, and I will emphasize or give more importance to scaling and measurement, because we all get stuck up with how to prepare a questionnaire. A questionnaire is an instrument that will help us to collect data for finding solution to our research problems, right? So I will be emphasizing more on scaling and measurement. And then day two will be on data processing, coding and exporting data in SPSS. And with SPSS, how to prepare tables. Tables play a vital role in terms of choosing the statistical tools, right? So the second day of the seminar will be on how to code the data and how to export the data in SPSS, and how to prepare tables to meet the research objective or the purpose for various statistical tool per se. Okay, that is about the second day. Day three, I will be discussing day 3 and 4. I will be discussing on how to analyze data by using SPSS. I'm planning to discuss descriptive and inferential analysis. In terms of descriptive analysis, how to use measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion. And with respect to inferential analysis, by using t-test, chi-square, ANOVA, and factor analysis, how to analyze the data, especially in commerce and social science research. I'm going to discuss the entire session with live demo and with my published paper and with my primary data. Whatever data I have collected, only that data I'm going to use for the entire demonstration. Okay, so the session will be like, I will be showing the demo, and I will also be sharing the content in my PowerPoint, and I will also be sharing some of the Word document here and there to meet our requirements. Okay, that is how I have planned. And day 4, I will be discussing about exploratory and confirmatory factor analysis, and the importance of structural equation model. Nowadays, everyone is talking about structural equation model. What is it? How to construct, and how simple it is, you will understand by preparing or by attending this session. So that's the purpose of this. And finally, on the last day, Nagalakshmi ma'am will discuss about publication ethics and the constitution of research committee in all the research departments, and identification of right journals for publication, and how to publish or upload your articles in forums like Google Scholar, ResearchGate, or Edu Academia. Traditionally, we used to think research work of yours is a confidential thing, right? We used to preserve everything. We used to keep things confidential. Now it is not so. Today, your research, the purpose of research is to help others to learn, right? So the number of citations to your articles or number of people interested in reading your article shows how relevant and how important your research work is, right? Therefore, we have to publish our data in the right sources. There are sources like Vidwan portal where you can upload, which is by the government of India. And we have Google Scholar, you can upload your articles there. RCID is there, you can upload your articles there. Edu Academia is there. A ResearchGate is there. There are a lot of forums where you can upload all your articles, so that authentic sources are there where people can read, refer, and you will also get the credit. Every time when someone is quoting your article, no, your citation index will also increase, right? So those aspects will be discussed on the day 5. This is how we have planned our work for the next 4 or 5 days. So let me start with an introduction to what is research. First of all, in commerce and social science research, there are a lot of problems around us, right? Research problem we have to identify, and that need to be coined in the right manner. Step 1 is to identify research problem. While identifying the research problem or the objective of your research, kindly ensure that it is relevant, and there are purposes for applying your research work. Your effort, your time is being invested. Time is precious. You can't be doing some scrap work which is not going to be of any relevance to anyone. My humble request to all the researchers, whatever research work you are doing, kindly ensure that it has some relevance or some purpose. Someone should read your article. We are all educated people, when we are making use, when you are investing your time on doing some research work, ensure that it is relevant, which is usable, and you should also have pride that I have contributed this work. Today, I got a message, a mail request from one of the students from Ahmedabad. She read one of my articles. She wanted me to clarify a few doubts of her based on the article. My research article suggested something. She had some doubt with the suggestions, how to implement those suggestions. That gives a lot of satisfaction to the researcher, right? Someone is reading. She wants some kind of justification for our work. Students are reading, scholars are reading, industry is looking for some information from us. They are looking in for some kind of collaboration. NAC and other ministry is also interested in giving us ICSR, SSR, and others are interested in sponsoring our research work. So make use of the opportunity and publish right and relevant information. So while choosing your research problem, ensure that it is relevant and people will be reading, and you will also make a sense after completing your research work. That we have to understand. Okay, that is the first step. And then the second step is review of literature. The purpose of review of literature, many of them are thinking it is just copy paste content kind of, or without, and today we have ChatGPT. With ChatGPT, you can also write articles without any plagiarism. I heard my daughter was telling about ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence based sources, which will help you to track data, or which will help you to compile information, kind of, right? So there should be some difference between any kind of machine-based contribution and human-based contribution, right? So the difference is ChatGPT can give information what is there in Google, whatever is available in the internet, only that is known to ChatGPT. Beyond that, it is up to you to collect information. While writing your review of literature, the purpose of review of literature is to learn about the subject, learn about your research topic, the type of research that had gone into that particular topic, what are all their objectives, the type of statistical tools they have used, what are all their findings, what type of suggestions they are giving. So while reading others' reviews, the purpose of review of literature is to understand what type of research had already been carried on the research topic in which you are interested in. If you can take a simple example like job satisfaction. Job satisfaction, I'm just telling as a simple example because everyone is interested in doing, if it is HR, people are interested in doing something on job satisfaction of people, or CRM. All those are general topic. But if you are doing a research on CRM or job satisfaction, you have to understand those, when you are doing your research, your primary data or your type of audience and your sample is entirely different. And today you are doing that particular research. Whatever finding you are going to leave, that is about your set of people, that is your research, that will be your contribution to the research community. Therefore, don't worry about the previous research. Same type of research could also be done, carried out by any other person. It is all their contribution. What is your contribution? Identify the research gap. There should definitely be some kind of difference between what others have contributed and the novelty of your research. That you have to emphasize. So the purpose of review of literature is to understand the type of research that has already gone into your topic and find out the gap. These type of activities are already carried out by others. I am interested in doing this. This is the research gap. So be clear with that. That should help you to prepare your conceptual framework. The third step is formulating the hypothesis and the conceptual framework, where you will give your primary assumption. So this is like this is the problem. This is what others are saying, and this is what is the gap. So I would like to find out the association of this on this, or influence of this on this, or I want to find out the importance of this, or whatever may be the purpose of the research. You put it in a diagrammatic format, a conceptual framework. There should be some relationship between the variables that are used in the research. Yes. So formulating the research hypothesis or the theory formulation, whatever you are contributing, this conceptual framework of yours is the theory that you are contributing. Okay, that will be your contribution to research. With that, you will be collecting your data. With that, you will be analyzing the data. With that, you will be interpreting and giving. Therefore, that will be your idea. So this is your idea. This is purely yours. So be careful with this, formulating the hypothesis and preparing your conceptual framework. That is the assumption with which you'll be proceeding with your research work. And then the next step is selecting the research design. What type of research you want to carry out, whether you want to do a exploratory research or experimental research or descriptive research. That once again, that depends upon the objectives of your study. Only few researchers in social science have done on the famous experimental research like Elton Mayo's Hawthorne experiment kind of. If you are interested, you can also do a lot of experimental research. So you can choose selecting the research design. How do you want to, whether you want to describe things or you want to explore or you want to experiment, however you want to do that, you have to be clear at this stage. Once again, that depends upon the objective of your research. That tells you how to go about. And then specify the sample. Sampling is very, very important, from whom you are going to collect the data, whether it is going to be the source, whether it is going to be a primary source or a secondary source, who are all your target audience, from whom you are going to collect the data. So those details you have to be clear. And with that, go ahead with the pilot study. Based on the pilot study information, you can go ahead with your final data collection and analysis. So these are all some of the steps in the process of research. So be clear with what you want to do. Ensure that your research problem is identified carefully. With that, you can proceed with the other steps. Okay. So we are going to discuss all these steps in detail depending upon the requirement. And my emphasis today will be on constructing a data collection instrument. So any doubt to anyone? Shall I proceed? Is everything fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
Thank you, sir. So today we are going to emphasize more on data in research. What type data? What is data? Data is any information that is collected that we are going to validate. Okay. So data can be some information or it can also be fact. Data can come from any source. It can be an audio message or it can be an email content or it can be some data published in newspapers or in textbooks or articles or journal or in the blogs, or it can be a TED talk or it can be a video. Data can be in any format. Collect the data, whatever is relevant to you. Okay. It can be qualitative information or it can also be in number form, quantitative. Qualitative or quantitative, that depends upon the objective or the purpose of research. Okay. So don't get confused with, and many I have seen research is always about collecting primary data and analyzing. It is not so. As commerce and management people, we have to analyze lot of secondary data that is published by various sources. Government authentic sources are there. So whatever data that is published by government, that need to be analyzed, and based on that we have to predict. That's called predictive analysis. We have to predict what will be the price, how the why the fluctuations are happening. Today the gold price is increasing, or the volatility, the reasons for volatility. Something called sensitivity analysis can also be applied. If there is a change on this will have an impact on these variables. So be careful. So while you are investing, these are all the areas that you have to concentrate kind of. So by analyzing information, you can give lot of suggestions to investors, you can give suggestions to companies, you can give suggestion to policymakers. So a lot of scope is there. Data, whether it need to be a primary or secondary, that depends upon the objectives of the research work. Primary data, if it is a primary data, it need not always be based on a Google form. Many of them are assuming with Google form you can complete all your data collection. It is not so. You can conduct interview with people, you can observe people, especially when you're when you want to collect data about how people are behaving in a particular circumstance, or how children are behaving, how illiterates are behaving, or how it can be anything. Observe, you can observe people either by using hidden cameras or informed cameras also, that will help people to collect primary actual information. or it can be through feedback form, or you can collect Salesforce opinion, or you can use some mechanical devices like eyeball dilation. How when people are excited, their eyeball dilates, right? Their facial expressions, whether they like it or dislike it, how are they showing their expressions? With that, you can predict a lot of information. Or you can conduct experiments like Hawthorne experiment. I was mentioning about Hawthorne experiment. I did an experiment with my students. I wanted to find out some experimental research. Even I wanted to conduct some experimental research. I wanted to find out positive and negative usage of positive or negative words. Does that has an impact on the students' performance or productivity? I wanted to measure that. So I did some kind of experiment. I had a control group and a normal group. With the control group, I gave them all negative information. I scolded them. I punished them for the entire day. They were kept with all negativity kind of. The other group was a normal group where normal things were happening. At the end of the day, after these scoldings and heavy warnings and the implications, I conducted some activity, some group activity, and I measured the time taken by them, their productivity levels. To my surprise, both the teams' performance were the same. I understood when people are in a group, and especially at the student age, and especially at the college level, any kind of negativity or punishment and other things that does not have very high impact on the productivity of the students. That's what I found out. And the activity, whatever I have conducted, is also more like a treasure hunt and time taking kind of an activity. So time was given importance in terms of measuring their productivity and completing their task. So I didn't publish that experimental research of mine because I wanted to do few more research on that before I publish that kind of a thing. So you can also do a lot of experiments with your students or with students, the researchers. You can do experiments, how people are behaving, the color, change of color or color combinations, packaging style, or reaction to advertisements. How are they recalling? You can do a lot of experiments with the students, and you can present that. That will be your primary data. And there are a lot of projective techniques when you want to project something. There are a lot of tests, word association test or sentence completion test, something like, I love to use this particular product because dash sentence completion. I would like to spend this vacation here, sentence completion, or story completion. You can give them a story, or you can tell them to associate with words. Word association test is something like, if you can give them some word or a circumstance. With that, whatever comes to their mind, with brainstorming, you can collect those information, and with that you can do. So there are a lot of projective techniques are there. You can use any of these techniques. Once again, usage of these techniques or the methods depends upon the objective of your research. So depending upon that, make your research as exciting, as interesting. Use different methods of collecting data. Involve technology while collecting data. So that will definitely help you people. So make your research as interesting as possible. That is in your hand only. And with respect to secondary data, these are all the sources. It can be library or literature or periodicals, census and registration data, trade association like CAA, MMA, they will have their data. You can collect data from them, government departments, Reserve Bank of India. I collected a lot of information from Reserve Bank of India's website. When I was doing my PhD, I wanted to prove some information about working of men and women employed in the banking sector. I took 10 years data. Standard content was available. I wanted to do the type of employment of men and women in the banking sector. I wanted the information for private, public, and foreign banks. In the banking sector, they hire people for 3 categories usually: sub-staff level, clerical level, and executive level. Entire content is available in the Reserve Bank website. For every year, their publications are there. So in that publication, men and women employed in each and every category is completely given. And similarly, lot of information is there. You can use those data for your further analysis. You can do analysis with that. Government sources, census data, central and state government publications are there, which are priced, and you can also buy those material for your reference. semi-government or NGOs publications are there. International bodies like IMF and others are also publishing a lot of information. Reports of committees and commissions, like government usually appoints some committee or commission for conducting some review, right? You can also collect those reports and commissions. You are starting point for your research, or when you want to prove the need for your study, or when you want to justify some fact for your study, you can quote these details. This is the source. This is how I got. This is how things are there. So you can justify, and with that you can proceed. So for justification purposes, you can use all these authentic sources. All these sources are valid, and you can refer those details. And today's concentration is going to be on measurement and scaling. Measurement in research, it is completely about observe, record, assign, and analyze the data. Okay. Observe the data. Measurement is observing the data, recording, assigning what need to be assigned, assign some value. When you are recording, what need to be recorded, record the information. For example, if you are collecting data, a rating scale, if you are collecting some data, you will record whether they are satisfied or highly satisfied or not at all satisfied. Assigning is assigning value. If they are highly satisfied, assigning 5 points, or not at all satisfied, 2 points or 1 point. So that depends upon your study, right? So first of all, observe what is happening, record that information in the way the respondents would love to record, in the way that will help you to collect the relevant information from your respondents, and then assign some numerical value, and then go in for analysis. Okay, that's the process. Okay, scaling is the assignment of objects to numbers or semantics according to a rule. Semantic is all about using words. So when you are scaling, when there are certain data which are in qualitative form, okay, those qualitative information, when you want to convert it to quantifiable numbers, where you will be applying these scaling. Okay, we are going to discuss the use or relevance of semantics and use and relevance of numbers also in the next few slides. Okay, so the purpose of measurement and scaling is to help a researcher to record information in number form. Even if it is in qualitative form, convert that into some number, and then we will be in a position to apply some statistical tools. And based on the statistical analysis, you can draw some meaningful conclusion. That is the purpose of measurement and scaling. Okay, this goes well with our data analysis. Therefore, we have to be clear with how to measure the data, how to scale and measure the data. That is very, very important. Okay. So when we are measuring, these are all the levels of measurement scales. Different measurement scales are there. Depending upon the circumstance, we can use different scales. Okay. Nominal scale. Wherever there are unique responses, nominal scale is used when a respondent will give only one unique response. It's something like, do you have a mobile phone? If it is yes or no, there can only be yes or no. Any one of the response will only be there, right? So that's called nominal. Wherever only male or female, where male, female are not interested in disclosing, you will fall under any one of the category only, right? So that is known as, one second. So wherever you have only one response to your question, that's known as your nominal. Okay, unique response will be there, so that you can record. Ordinal scale is, it is usually ranking of items, or wherever you have some information which is an increasing scale, that is known as your ordinal scale. Interval scale is there wherever numerically equal distance can be assigned, something like your income group. People in the income group of less than 250,000 per annum, 250,000 to 5 lakh, where your class intervals should be equal distance. When you are asking questions, I have seen some of the questionnaires where equal distance is not maintained. But if you are not maintaining equal distance, you should also give justification for it. Okay. So interval scale is about using equal scale, numerically equal distance between one measurement to another measurement. So wherever you're collecting data in that format, that's called interval scale. And there's something called ratio scaling. Ratio scale is all about measuring ratios, or expresses mathematical relationship between two variables, right? It can be two variables like your current asset and current liability, the relationship between current asset and current liability, or time spent by a person and wage earned by the person. With that, what are we going to do? We are going to measure the productivity or efficiency of a person, right? When you want to measure, so you will have some purpose. When your research objective needs some information on the productivity of a person, how to measure the productivity of a person, time spent by, efficiency of a person, time spent by him, and the wages earned by him. So similarly, you can have so many people and you can also do some kind of analysis. Ratios expresses mathematical relationship between two variables. Okay. So these are all some of the measurement scales. And other than that, there are a lot of other scales. There are something called comparative scales and there are something called non-comparative scales. Comparative scale is completely about comparing one data with another data. One variable will be compared with another variable. Non-comparative is without comparing, you will be analyzing or you will be preparing your details. Okay, that's about comparative scales and non-comparative scales. Under comparative scales, we have four methods or four techniques are there. Under non-comparative also, we have two types of items, continuous rating and itemized rating. Those things we are going to discuss in detail. Okay, so these methods we can use. And these can be part of your questionnaire. That is what the purpose of discussing. Paired comparison is you will pair two items. You will list down the variables in your study. Coke, Pepsi, most preferred item. If you want to find, you will compare Coke with the other options. Coke with Coke. Coke na Coke dana. Like Coke and Pepsi. Coke and Thumbs Up. Coke and Bovento. Coke and Mazda. So you will take A and compare it with other things. So whatever is preferred, that you will put an asterisk. And then you will compare the next item. If it is offered this and other things, you will identify the preference of your respondents. And at the end of the day, at the end of your analysis, you will list down, you will identify, you will calculate the number of the column wise total number of times that particular item is preferred compared to any other product or item or a variable that is there in your study. This is just for a product. It can also be like any other variable, most preferred variable, least preferred variable that we can consider. Okay, this is called paired comparison method. And then we have something called rank order comparison. Rank order comparison measures the level of importance given by the respondent to certain items. Okay. If there are 5 items or 5 variables, it can be any other variable also. Assume in a market for purchasing a mobile phone, assume there are 5 factors: brand image, price or warranty, battery durability, and after sales service kind of. Okay, let us assume 5 variables. Out of this, which one is the most important variable according to you? Second important, last important, or the least important? You will find out, you will ask your respondents to rank. So these ranks will be there for all your items, and you can either go in for taking a weighted average of ranks, and with that you can go ahead with your further analysis, or you can do some kind of rank correlation you can do, and you can find out whether they are correlated. You can do a lot of analysis with that. So this is one way of collecting data, rank order comparison method. And there is something called constant sum method. Constant sum method is they will assign you some points. You want to buy some product or an item or some variable, something based on your study. You will ask your respondents to allot some points. Assume you have 100 points with you. When you want to buy a two-wheeler, for buying a two-wheeler today, according to your respondent, a respondent can even give more importance to eco-friendly two-wheeler. I already have some other two-wheeler. Today, when I want to buy something which helps the environment or environmental friendly bike I want to buy. So it can be eco-friendly. I will give 70% importance to eco-friendly product. And then I'm interested in brand. I'm interested in mileage also. 70, 10 year, trend and look is also important. So 10 for that. So that depends upon the individual buyer or the respondent. Okay, so you will, while consolidating, you will find out totally what is the score or the point allotted to brand or mileage, trend, and with that you will be proceeding with your further analysis. Okay, this is one way of doing your research or collecting the data from your respondents. And there's something called QSort. QSort method is about wherever you want to find out the most preferred or least preferred item or the method, or usually when companies go ahead with their brand ambassadors or magazine cover page printing content, or so they will find out, they will give some pictures or images or content to all the respondents. Assume you want to choose a brand ambassador for a particular product. You will have some information with you. It can be celebrities, or it can be other sports people, or it can be common men, or it can be anyone. You will give all the pictures, and you will ask your respondent to list all the most liked, neutral, dislike, prefer list. I don't want to see this particular person or an item as a brand ambassador or associated with this particular brand kind of. So finally, you will identify the most liked, the neutral, dislike, and preferred the least kind of. With that, you will be going ahead with your further analysis. So this is about QSort technique, and then the next technique is non-comparative scales. So here there's no comparison with any other item or any other product. Till these things, these four comparative scales, where we have compared one item with another item, either by pairing or by ranking, where we have compared it like this, or allotting points, even once again, where we have compared one, evaluated. Each and everything is equally important. But the preference given by each customer will be entirely different, right? So consider that way. Even here, you are comparing. QSort is also once again comparison based. So these are all comparative scales. So does the research always need to be based on comparison? There's no need for that. We can go ahead with non-comparative scales, where you can give some kind of continuous rating scales. Rating scales are usually used to measure data where it will change from time to time, wherever the based on the respondents' mood swings, their response changes. No, under those circumstances, you have to go for rating scale only to convert all your qualitative information to quantitative information. Continuous rating scales are used. In terms of continuous rating scale, you will have strongly agree to strongly disagree, strongly agree, neutral or not interested in giving information, agreed, strongly disagree, kind of on a continuous basis. So this is called continuous rating scale. I've given some example. Meditation helps in managing my stress level at work. Do you agree with this? Yes, strongly agree, strongly disagree, or I don't have any comment, or neutral. I don't know whether that I have never experienced meditating in the workplace kind of. So I don't know. I don't have any experience on that. I don't know. So that can also be a reason. So depending upon the respondent's content, you can collect information from your respondents. This is about continuous ratings technique. And then we have something called itemized rating. In case of itemized rating, you're giving some kind of item, or you're allotting some value, either it can be a graphic scale, or verbal scale, or numeric scale kind of, where when you want to collect information instantaneously, immediately, where we can go for some kind of emoticons like this: favorable, happy face, indifferent, unfavorable. Easily people will click. You can find out number of people liked, disliked, or indifferent towards, shown indifferent attitude towards. So that you can collect. Verbal scaling is, you will allot some kind of verbal, you will describe the circumstance, whether they are completely satisfied. Or itemized numeric scaling is allotting numbers, where you will allot the numbers depending upon the circumstance. It can range from -5 to +5. Assume you are evaluating the service provided by a restaurant. It can be +5. If you are highly satisfied, +5. Super. There's nothing beyond I can expect from here. If it is 0, I don't know. I'm not happy, or I'm not happy. At the same time, I'm not unhappy also. If it is 0. If it is -3, -3, -5 is to the maximum worst to the kind of. Okay, so itemized numerical scale will help you to get even the negative information from your respondents. You have to be clear with the objective only determines whether you have to give graphic scale or verbal scale or numeric scale. That depends upon your research work and your sample also. Assume you're collecting data from school kids or from primary school kids, whether their preference for something, whether they like that particular audio content or a message or something, where you may not be able to ask them to rate like this or read and give their information. Emoticons will help them. So you can go ahead with graphic scales. So depending upon the circumstance, depending upon the sample, you will decide the right method of rating scale. And then there's something called Likhart's attitude measurement, 5-point scale. Likert scale is one of the most preferred scale. There's also 7-point scale. There's also 10-point scale. These points, the number of points, 5 points or 7 points or 9 points, that once again depends upon the level of surety you want with your content. Okay. So how complete and how that depends upon the researcher's interest in collecting information. You can either go in for 5-point scale or a 9-point scale. There's also 10-point scale that you can use depending upon your research. These semantic differential scales are like with words, you will make some changes. You will something like maximum to 7-point scale, let us assume, modern to old fashioned, whatever may be the adjectives that are there, that will be used here to find out whether the actual opinion of the respondents, that is collected based on using semantic differential scale. By words, by using words, you will ask them to explain things. Okay. So this is how semantic differential scale is applied. And then there's something called staple scale. Staple scale is to measure the direction of the respondent's perception on certain things. It need not always be the same, right? So assume in a bank, you are measuring some content, their service, you are measuring bank X and bank Y's performance. Okay. You can see with your staple scale, you will see the level of movement of the customer's response. Okay. When it comes to bank X, fast service +2, they are friendly +3. When it comes to honesty, +1 only. And then convenient location +4. Yes, they are centrally located. They are accessible anytime. They are also working on convenient hours. They are available whenever I need some help. They are available. And then are they dull and lazy kind of a people? I may not be able to give them full score. 3. Good services, yes, 3. High saving rates, yes, they are giving better saving rates. When it comes to bank Y, you can see it is ranging from +1 to maximum +2 only. Okay. And thank God here, no one is choosing -point. If it is in minus, that shows the negative performance of that particular bank. So you will have staple scale, the movement of the customer's response for each and every variable in your study will be measured. And with this, you will be going in for your further analysis. This is about. So all these will help you to get relevant information, right information, and your respondents will also be engaged in the right manner to give their response. Okay. So this is about it. And now I would like to give you a consolidated sheet where the type of questions that you can ask under each scale kind of. Okay. Nominal scale is usually open-ended, or it can be dichotomous, or sometimes it can also be multiple choice, where you will allow them to choose only one item. Okay, if it is nominal, there is only one answer to a question. Name of the respondent or gender or any question. Do you have Wi-Fi facility at home? Yes or no? There can only be 2 reasons. yes or no. Slightly, I may have, I may not have. That kind of variation is not at all possible. In case of nominal scale, it is only one response to one question. Okay. So it can be open-ended. What is your name? Or do you have? What do you feel? So all these will be open-ended. Dichotomous is two options, yes or no, male or female. Or multiple choice, it can also be sometimes multiple choice, male, female, not interested in sharing, or the third gender, some information, where it can be any one of them, right? That's called nominal scale. Ordinal scale is ranking based on the preference, where you have to give multiple choice. If you want to use ordinal scale, you definitely have to give multiple choice. And if it is interval scale is usually used for collecting socioeconomic details and the other information, where age group of the respondents or the income group of respondents, where you'll definitely be going in for multiple choice questions. Well, while collecting age related information, go for interval scale. People may not be interested in sharing exact age. We are not going to do anything with exact age. And once again, if your income, even for income also, if it is open ended, people won't be giving the right information. If it is ranging from this level to this level, they will be comfortable sharing that information. So don't ask too much of personal question. People, especially women, may not like sharing their age. Men may not be interested in sharing their income. So with that assumption, don't ask exactly thing. Maybe you can ask them. Based on that, we can proceed with the data. With respect to ratio, it can be height and weight if you want to measure the BMI. Multiple choice question only. It should be ratios are always multiple choice questions. What you have to give them which category they belong to, right? So it will always be multiple choice. Rating scale, you can use rating scale. Like these are all the scales. You can give them 5-point scale, or it can be semantic scale, or it can be Likhart's 5-point scale, standard scale, or 7-point scale. You can use, depending upon the circumstance, you can use the right semantics to get the respondents' opinion on that particular information. Okay. Will you recommend our services to others? If it is a question, you will be asking always, yes, I'm happy with your service. I will always recommend your service. Often I will, sometimes I will, rarely I will never recommend your service. So wherever you have this kind of response from your respondents, you have to dwell on the reasons for those things. Okay, that we can find out. Okay, upskilling helps in career progression. I strongly agree. I disagree. Or there's no correlation between upskilling and career progression in this particular type of organization kind of. So it can be anything. So depending upon the question, use the right semantics so that you will be able to collect the right kind of information from your respondents. Only based on this data, we are going to use, we will be able to analyze and draw meaningful conclusion. Therefore, be clear with the type of questions you are asking. Interestingly, after collecting your data or while preparing your questionnaire also, you have to validate your questionnaire and you have to ensure that whatever you are communicating that reaches your respondents in the right manner. Your respondents should also feel that they are responding to right questions, and however you are communicating, that should be communicated to your respondents, right? Is there anything to be discussed, or shall I proceed? Any questions to anyone? Shall I proceed? Srimati.
Yes, ma'am.
Srimati is raising her hand, and shall I proceed? Maybe at the end of the session around 2:45 or 2:50, we will start our discussion session. For 10 minutes, we can have, if the organizers are permitting, we can have some kind of question answer session for 10 minutes. Okay. So after preparing your questionnaire, very importantly, you have to validate. Validating in terms of content. Whatever content you are asking, it is valid, relevant, and it will help you to collect all possible data from your respondents to complete your research work. That is very, very important. Okay, content need to be validated. Construct validity is However, we have discussed so many methods of collecting data, right? It can be open-ended or closed-ended or multiple choice or ranking. Whether we are having some kind of cogent order, coherence for the respondents to give the right information, or are we jumping from one to another just like that, where respondents will get confused? The construction, the format or the method you are using for collecting the data from your respondent should also be valid. For using some dichotomous question or some kind of rating for a 5-point scale rating, instead of using that, if you are using some other method of collecting the data, the construct, it's called invalid in terms of construct of your questionnaire. Okay, you have the right topic, you have the right questions, but the questions are not asked in an appropriate manner. By giving some wrong technique, or by adapting a wrong technique, you will be collecting wrong information or the inappropriate data, which you may not be able to use and apply the relevant statistical tool. Then it becomes a flaw, right? Ensure that the construct is also valid. How to check this construct validity? Check with your research guide, sit with your research guide, view other researchers' work. So if I'm using this type of method for collecting my data, what type of tool I will be able to apply? After collecting the data, how this data will appear? What type of tool I will be able to apply? The further analysis, and whether is that proved by others. So those things you can do some kind of review in order to ensure that the construct of your questionnaire, the format of your questionnaire or the question you have asked is also valid. And then criterion related validity. For each and every criterion, whatever you're using in your research or in your questionnaire, that should also be valid. Criterion related validity is you will have lot of criteria, lot of objectives. You want to measure some association between socio-economic variables of the respondents and some information, or you wanted to measure some feedback about the respondents or some criterion. You should also have your research objectives in your mind. Your content is valid, your construct is valid. It also meet all the criterions, or the scope of the research is completely covered in my research work. That we have to ensure. That's completely about validating your questionnaire. And then how reliable your data collection instrument is. Even that need to be tested. How to test the reliability? Test and retest reliability is there, where the same questionnaire will be given, or the same set of study can be conducted twice. Maybe 50% of the data will be collected. 2 times you will be collecting. Twice test and retest is, for the first time you will be collecting some data, and then the same from the same respondent you will be administering another questionnaire, and you will be collecting the data, and you will match those data, and you will find out whether the respondent is able to understand and respond things in the right manner. Split of reliability is, if you usually you all may be knowing, for a PhD questionnaire, questionnaire will be a lengthy questionnaire. If it goes for more than 4 pages, people will become restless. So that will result in central tendency error, or hasty information, or some kind of biased information. To avoid that, you can split off, where 50% of the data will be collected at the first instance. After 1 or 2 months, or after 15 days, you will give the second part of the questionnaire and collect the data from them, so that the burden of filling up the questionnaire at a stage will be relieved. Okay, this will be a challenge when it comes to research. If you want your research work to be complete and reliable, you have to make it, you have to take all possible efforts. People are, I heard through one of my student today, Python coding is used for getting the primary data responded through coding. So which means you are not at all collecting data from anyone. Just by giving some codes, you are filling up the data sheet, and with the artificially filled up data, you are going to analyze. It's all of fake. It's of no relevance. Maybe you can get some degree which is of no use kind of. So don't do that. Take all possible effort to ensure that your data is reliable, your content is valid for proving something. Okay. So split of reliability, an equivalent form or parallel forms. Parallel forms are like, you will have in a questionnaire, you will have the 7th question and the 17th question, or every 7th question or 10th question, where you will have some kind of testing. You will check the validity of your respondents. Okay. So correlation, parallel forms can also be equivalent form, or parallel forms can also be given. And beyond everything, we have Cronbach alpha measure to validate the respondents' response from your respondents. Tomorrow, Nagalakshmi ma'am will also be teaching you how to test the reliability of your questionnaire. Cronbach by using Cronbach alpha, by using SPSS, how to test the reliability. That is also part of tomorrow's workshop. You can understand how to do that analysis. Okay, Cronbach alpha measure is also one of the measure to analyze the validity. And for few techniques like factor analysis, where the sample size is analyzed by using KMO Bartlett test. That KMO Bartlett test is conducted to find out whether the data is sufficient to proceed with your factor analysis. Depending upon the response of your respondents, the Bartlett test will tell you whether the data is sufficient to proceed with further analysis with your factor analysis. Okay. So there are tests which are part of some of the tools also. Okay. So in general, you can go ahead with validating your questionnaire and the reliability of the data by using these techniques. And other than that, there are specific statistical tool specific reliability test is also there. Even that can also be administered in order to proceed with your further analysis. Okay, this is about this. And I wanted to discuss about sampling. Sampling is also very, very important because we didn't discuss that in detail. I thought of sharing one slide on sampling. While choosing your sample, you ensure that it follows the laws. There are 2 laws in choosing your sample. Statistical regularity should be there. Law of inertia of large numbers should also be there. Okay, which is all about when you are collecting your data, each and every sample, whatever you are choosing, that should represent your population. That should also be adequate. Assume there are in India, the total population size is around 140 crores or 130 plus crores, where assume you are choosing 100 people. If you are collecting data from 100 of them and telling this is what India is that adequate? So understand your population, and accordingly you go ahead with your sample choice. And there should also be randomness. It should not be biased. And homogeneity or heterogeneity of the crowd, even that we have to consider, and accordingly we have to collect the data. While collecting the data, it should be homogeneous. It should meet the purpose of your research work. There are different methods, sampling techniques are there. Simple, random, systematic, stratified. These are all generally used by the researcher. This multi-stage sampling is usually used in commerce and social science research, where at different levels, when data need to be collected from everyone at multi-stages, you have to collect. Maybe assume for me, for my study, I collected data from private banks, public banks, and from foreign banks. From each and every bank, I have collected from each. I have identified the number of branches each and every bank had. Stage 1 is to identify number of banks, private banks, public banks, and foreign banks. And then the next level is number of branches they had, and then number of women managers they had in each and every branch. And from them, I have collected multi-stage, maybe from national level, and then from the state level, and then district level, from each district, and then the next level, and then city level. So where you are ensuring that every stage is considered, and every none of the whatever sample you are collecting is complete, and it is ensuring the purpose of your research work. That's the purpose of going in for multi-stage and the other things. There are few studies where you can also go for snowball sampling method, where wherever you don't have complete information about your respondents. Something like I did a study on cryptocurrency, investors' perception and risk-taking abilities for investing in cryptocurrency. When I did a research on who's investing, I don't have the database of crypto investors. I used only snowball sampling for collecting my data. One crypto investor, introduced me with another investor. He referred another third person, fourth person kind of. So one ball will connect you to another ball. That's how data is collected in terms of non-probability sampling, because you don't have control over the sample or the population. There's no data available on the sample. Under those circumstances, we can go for snowball sampling method. These are all the other methods generally we would have discussed at the classroom level also. If there are any doubt on anything, that we will discuss during the question answer session. And the next step after collecting the data, the next step will be data analysis, that we will start from tomorrow. I have 10 minutes. These 10 minutes we will discuss if there are any questions. I will just give you a recap of whatever we have discussed today. We have started understanding what is research.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Sorry?
Yeah, ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
This can ma'am, we have discussed about
You're not audible clearly.
Am I clear now, ma'am? Am I audible? Yeah, I'll put it in the chat box.
So before we get the question, yes. I have a doubt on validity. Yes, Dhanalakshmi madam, what is your doubt on validity? You can ask if your mic is working properly. Organizers, can you help them? Is there any specific test to validate the questions? Cronba alpha is the measure. Only that will help you to validate. The purpose of validating the questionnaire or the data collection instrument is to ensure that whatever you are communicating, your respondents are able to understand that, and they are also able to give you the content however you are expecting them to give. Okay, that's the purpose. The reliability is measured by using Cronba alpha. That will give you whether there is coherence in the way the respondents have responded to that particular question. In case if there is, if they are not able to give the right response with the Cronba alpha, we can find out if it is less than 0.9. If you can easily understand that the response is widely dispersed and they're not able to understand and communicate message. You can prune or you can revise one or two statements, and you can change the words also. So that you can do with respect to share the PPT for reference. Yes, I will share it maybe at end of the after my last day's discussion. I will share the PPT with the organizers. They can share it with it. What is Cronba alpha measure? Is it for the entire questionnaire? Cronba alpha measure is for the entire primary, for the pilot study. Initially, whatever you are collecting, it will check your the response, how reliable the response is for further analysis. It's a measure, it's a statistical tool that helps you to check the reliability of your data, how reliable your data is, how your respondents have understood and responded to all your questions. Assume you are asking a question like this. We had a lot of questions like, okay. Something on stress and meditation. Do you think meditation helps to reduce stress in the workplace? Okay. Depending upon the question framed by you, they would have given their response, right? So depending upon the response, whether the response is reliable, that we can check. Okay, that it's a measure to check the reliability of the response.
Ma'am, I have posted one more question there, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
If you are adopting a standardized questionnaire which is already there in the website, and if we include any of the items in the existing questionnaire, in such a case, do we need to go for again validation of the questionnaire now?
Of course, yes. You have to validate. You are not validating the content or the construct here. You are validating the response from your respondents. Your set of respondents are entirely different from the respondents with whom the standard instrument was tested, validated, and proven. Okay.
So
you
the validity test for the data what we are collecting, not
yes.
for the instrument.
Yes. It
In
is
such
not
a
for
case,
the. Sorry?
Okay. So no, ma'am, we used to call it as a standardized questionnaire.
Standardized questionnaire. Here you are checking that standardized questionnaire or the instrument with respect to your respondents' understanding. Whether the respondents have understood. Even in my study, I have used one of my segment was about some standard information. I measured some content about their workplace performance. Okay, where I used a standard instrument, but the words or the terminologies that are used by the person whoever developed the instrument that may not be suitable for our Indian circumstance. The terminologies may not communicate the message properly to our own people. So under those circumstances, it is the researcher's responsibility to ensure that the respondents are able to understand the terminologies and they are responding it in the right manner that you are testing. Your Cronba alpha measures the response validity.
Yeah, it's very clear. Thank you so much.
How to give explanations for snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is used wherever we don't have control over the respondents or the population is not defined properly, or when you don't have complete information about the population, how to proceed with your data. You have to collect data. You don't have any clue on where to start, how to start. I referred one of the working paper where women IAS officers were the respondents. Okay. Is it possible for us to get the list of women IAS officers, and is it possible for you to meet them based on your research work? That may be possible depending upon your influence and so many other things. Without that, say one simple thing is one woman IAS officer can share her friend or the immediate other person who is available, who will be able to help us. And from that particular person, she can refer some other person, and then the other person kind of one ball connects to the next ball. That is one way of collecting the data. So wherever you don't have control over the population, wherever it is not easy for you to collect the data directly from the sample, then you have to go for snowball sampling only. One snowball will connect to the other snowball. One respondent will help you to collect data from the other respondent. That's about snowball sampling technique. And for the days to come, this is what I have prepared. I'm going to discuss in terms of descriptive analysis. I'm going to discuss measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion. And with respect to inferential analysis, these are all the techniques I have prepared. And this is how I'm going to discuss. I have created a hyperlink for all these techniques, and I will be showing a demo on SPSS. 14 days, the free version will be available. If you want, you can download that. And as a part of the analysis, I have also taken few problems from SP Gupta. So for those problems, however, manually we are solving the problem, and how to solve and get the answer in SPSS, even that one or two problems for t-test, and for t-test I'm using SP Gupta book also. Okay. So that is how I'm planning to proceed with the next few days session. Any
Ma'am,
other?
Ma'am, can you put some light on mixed research? Because nowadays everything is about mixed research.
Mixed research in terms of, I'm not able to get your mixed research. Usually, with
Methodology.
methodology, research design, when we are using exploratory research design, research method, we used to, before exploring, you have to prove, you have to describe certain information. Okay. You have to do some preliminary research to prove some content. Last week, one of my student, she made a presentation on how she landed up on choosing a particular sector for doing research. She wanted to do impact of GST on real estate business. Okay. So for choosing or landing upon real estate business itself, it took 6 months for her to collect a lot of information. So where she had to describe, or she had to understand, and she had to explore what is happening in various industries. Impact of GST, how are they claiming, what type of benefits are available with respect to real estate business, how the benefit is transferred to the customers, who's getting benefit, and those stuff, where she had to prove a lot of information. She had to explore, she had to describe, and finally she will be going in for final data collection. That will be her primary data collection. Okay. So
analytical, ma'am.
Yeah. So it will be a combination of descriptive,
Explorative, descriptive, and analytical.
Yes. So you're proving, you are ensuring before proceeding with something. It can happen with your sample size determination, or need for, when you are emphasizing or proving the need or the purpose of your research work, you can describe something, you can show some analysis, and you can tell them this is why, this is how, kind of. So that's how mixed research is getting more importance. And there are a lot of tools that are available nowadays to consolidate information. So we can use those technology-based tools to consolidate information.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other question? Any
Ma'am, I
other
guess
question?
more
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
Thank you for your valuable time and insight, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Participants, thank you for your coordination. I request you all to join back tomorrow around 1:15 p.m. Sorry.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
PPTs will
Thank
be
you, ma'am.
stopped at the end of the session after 5 days. Now the participants can leave.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Organizers.
How is the feedback form, sir? Ma'am, have you put it here? Excuse me?
Feedback forms are shared in the chat box, ma'am. You can check and you can fill up the
Okay,
form.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Organizers, kindly repost it, or I can even request them to post it in the WhatsApp group so that.
Yeah, if you don't mind, ma'am, because I'm using the mobile itself for my,
Okay.
Ma'am, I
so
will
it's
share.
difficult to go back from here and then do it. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Vijay ma'am, can I
Yes.
end my call?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, am
Okay.
I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Ma'am, is everything fine?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the wonderful session, ma'am.
It's my pleasure.
And thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm anything for Kanika Parmeshwari College, ma'am. I will definitely do.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'll end my call, ma'am. Thank you. If there are any
Okay,
feedback or anything, you can share it to me, ma'am. You can call
Surely,
me.
ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll end my call. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye, 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 bye.
என்னாச்சு இங்க வா